4th, 2023 meeting of the High Point Regional High School Board of Education. I'll make that motion. May I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
You're good.
We're good? Okay. May I have a motion to return to public session, please?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now in public session. Just noting that Mr. Tedona is with us and Mrs. Oriana is also with us now. So we're the full board. We have no unfinished business, so we'll proceed to approval of minutes for the regular meeting minutes of November 22, 2022, and executive session minutes of November 22, 2022, and our reorganization meeting minutes of January 3rd, 2023. I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, corrections? Roll call, please.
Ms. Tedona?
Yes.
Mr. Conforth?
Yes.
Mr. Carrasa?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Palisek?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Schumann?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. Okay, we now reached our first public comments section of the evening. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, we will open the public comments for agenda items only at this time. Each speaker should state his or her name and address. You will have 3 minutes to address the board, which will be timed by myself. We will limit this section to no longer than 45 minutes. Please be respectful and mindful that your comments are being recorded. It doesn't look like we have anybody in person, but I'll look at, see if we have any virtual comments, and it appears there are none. So may I have a motion to close the first public comment section?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, we move on to presentations. The first section of presentations, I will turn over to Dr. Ripley.
I can defer the reading of this to the board president. I could read it, or we can forego it and just proclaim
Yes.
that it is in recognition of it. I defer to that.
Okay. Well, seeing that it is one full page recognizing January as School Board Recognition Month, as listed, I think we can forego the reading of that.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for going.
Joe's recommendation.
If our student council has any presentation to stick around.
So student council started off the month with another character initiative, this month being respect. We had our monthly presentation to introduce this month's theme. In this presentation, we discussed self-respect, respecting each other in the classroom, which includes respecting the teachers and the teachers respecting us. And also we included tips on how to become a more respectful person. This was a little bit of a slower month for most clubs, just because it becomes difficult to meet during this month with everything going on. But SAVE did have a therapy dog come in during one of our meetings to help with stress since midterms were coming up and everything. The meeting allowed for people to just come in, share ideas for the upcoming year, and also just to sit in a stress-free environment, which is what we all needed since we're having midterms right now. But that's really it for this month.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I did see a communication that Mrs. Mancuso was not going to be able to make tonight, so I don't see that we have anybody standing in for her to update us on HPA items. So that brings us to the principal report in athletics. Is it possible?
He has informed me that he is at the wrestling match to observe what is likely Mr. Garber's 400th win.
Awesome. That's a very good reason not to be present here. So we'll give Mr. Talamay a pass until next month for updates on reports on principal's report in athletics. So then it brings us to curriculum instruction, Mr. Seamus Campbell.
Right, terrific. Thank you.
I'm not sure I need the microphone.
No.
Murphy's Law always says that we have a large crowd, it's not working, it's working tonight, but. So we have now, for more than 10 years, raised probably over $100,000. A student by the name of Taylor Smith and her father, Tom Smith, and the Smith family, along with Chris Dexter, our girls coach, Todd Van Orden, a lot of community support. This is spread, our other teams do it, our soccer teams do it, Roy Chiarello with the girls soccer team, Kelly Reynolds with the field hockey team. This is one of the most special nights of the year for High Point because the students lead it and organize it and play a leadership role, but it's truly a night where so many facets of our community come together. So it was a fantastic event 2 weeks ago, and we want to thank everybody for the entire school community. It's one of those nights that has more different groups involved, which really makes it very special. So hats off to everybody who was involved. Oh no, I just edited that. I had 399 wins. I thought I would go after Mr. Talashan's because by the time I got here, it'd be 400. But my edits didn't go live yet, so I had 399 up there. So congratulations, Mr. Gardner, on his 399 victory. You know, hopefully soon, moments away from 400. Mr. Gardner has also been recognized as our Teacher of the Year, and so we're very proud of him and happy for the leadership that he brings to our program. So hopefully that prediction holds true. If there are any more Knowles fans watching the presentation, we're not being presumptuous, it is typo. We have an incredible program of studies. It is interactive, it's user-friendly. It was published with a software device or platform that was quite expensive. We made the decision to separate from that platform to save some money. Miss Jessica Briggs from the curriculum office transferred the entire 110-page document into a free software program, Google Slides. It was a seamless transition and we're saving money, so thank you to her. And thank you to our 4 supervisors who do an incredible job crafting this curriculum with the teachers that they lead. These 4 individuals went to all of the sending districts last week and met with the teachers there to talk about the curriculum and the upcoming scheduling process. So it's great to work with such an awesome team. It's a fantastic document. As I said, it's prior to this, we had a Word document with typing, and it now is a document you look at and really understand some of the nuances of the curriculum. Every department has a chart which shows you how you can come in 9th grade, take an entry-level course, and eventually make your way to some of the higher-level options. We also have a really large number, impressive number of concurrent enrollment opportunities, and those are all laid out. When we had our 8th grade open house night for parents, one of the most frequent questions was, I hear about these AP courses and concurrent enrollment courses. How can I put my student in a position to earn some college credit? And it is laid out very nicely on this document. We also have industry certifications and a component of the program called the Pathways, which takes every one of our courses and clusters them together to try and help students think about how the courses they take now could build a foundation for a possible career. It's not a major, it's not a commitment, it's just a conversation tool to say, oh, look at these recent graduates who are surveyors and engineers and chefs and teachers, and what courses in our catalog and our curriculum might be well suited to prepare them for such a career. This is on our banner, so if anyone's listening tonight and they want to view this document, it is updated and available, and it's also available if the banner is scrolling slowly. Just go to our website under Academics, Program of Study, and it's there. We do make edits occasionally, but the gist of it is all set and ready to roll. We do not have any major changes this year. We We'd like to think of making those every 2 to 3 years. So we do have some minor adjustments, but essentially the curriculum is unchanged from last year. So any questions on our program of study? That is on the agenda tonight as an attachment for board approval. That's a formality that our curriculum be officially adopted every year by the board. So, all right. Many people have a variety of opinions about standardized assessments mandated by the state. We have our own opinions. Sometimes we're not too pleased, but when we have to allocate time and have students take them, we take it seriously. We hope the students feel comfortable, and we hope that the experience provides something meaningful. In September, 7 assessments were administered. 3 of them were to our freshmen. Sophomores tested in English, and seniors tested in science. Interesting, when you look at the results, it's the second week of school, okay? So the 9th grade results is really a reflection on how they did in their various setting districts. One of the things that's helpful about that is we broke down some data today and looked at various scores in various areas from the 4 schools that send us students. And it could be a helpful tool to say to our partners in those schools, your students did really well here and perhaps not as well there. So it's a chance to have a dialogue with them as well. One of the things that was nice about this assessment was, there we go. We didn't have to change the whole schedule. We took our existing schedule, we simply adjusted the number of minutes in this period and that period, and students took the assessment in their normal classroom with their teachers. They feel more comfortable in that environment, and it doesn't feel as if the entire school goes to a dramatically different schedule. So that made it quite manageable. Also, the results were available the day the test was taken. So the student tested at 9 a.m. By 3 p.m. we have the results. So that we kind of have to say, well, that's certainly helpful. And we're required to publicly present them, which we're doing here tonight. When students take Start Strong, they basically get a 3, which is the best, less support needed, a 2, some support, or a 1, strong support needed. So 3 is the best, 1 is not as good. Clearly, language arts performed better than math and science. We still struggle with science because there's not significant buy-in statewide. One of the things I looked at today, the data tables were able to show per student how many minutes they engaged on the test. And so you were able to kind of look at, well, are there some tests where students are done in 7 minutes? Well, clearly you didn't really take the test. And so we get a vibe for to some degree the extent to which students are really engaging. We have to show subgroup data that can be challenging because some of these subgroups, for example, economic disadvantage and non-disadvantaged. Approximately 16% of our school is economically disadvantaged. So you're looking at results from considerably smaller subgroups, 16% versus 84%. But here is some information regarding that. These are actually brand new batteries that we're putting in those. Race gender. We continue to see female students perform significantly better in language arts. There are some things we're doing. We now have more choice reading and genre-based English 12 courses, but you'll see that female students did significantly better in ELA. Everything else, the gold star, there was considerable consistency. So pleased to see that race and ethnicity had no significant discrepancy. Students with disabilities, on average, did not perform as well as their contemporaries without disabilities. However, we're doing a lot of things right now to increase inclusion. We're administering common assessments and having all students, no matter what level, of course, take a common assessment, try and find some common strengths and weaknesses. Economically disadvantaged, no significant difference in language arts, but significant difference in math and science. Again, it is kind of a small subgroup that's being compared, but that is a required component for us to report. Come on. Here we go. So as I just showed you, when it comes to ethnicity and race, very consistent. Gender, mixed. Economic disadvantage, mixed. Students with disability, not a great degree of consistency. And there was data that was omitted because if 9 or fewer students take a certain test, we're prohibited from sharing that information for privacy rates. Language arts, grade 9 and 10. Okay, again, the dark purple is a 3, which means students that need the least support, so that is a good number. Algebra 1, geometry and math. Algebra 1, those are students, again, that are tested the second week of September based upon the math proficiency from grade 8. However, I'm not looking to criticize their middle school experience. Algebra 1 is a totally unique animal. Students take it in 7th grade, take it in 8th grade, take it in 9th grade, and take it in 10th grade. So it's really, our freshmen, when they took that, some of them had had a full year of Algebra 1, some of them had never had Algebra 1. And so that's worth noting. Science, we still need to work on the buy-in so that we can understand how valid those numbers are. In every single one of the 7 tests, I matched it against the state results. They're publicly available. You can go online. You can see every single school district, every school, not district, every single school in the state is available on the table. And for every single school, it breaks down all of these demographic subgroups. You compare us, you can compare different counties. Our performance across the board was strikingly consistent with the state average. We don't aspire to the average, but it's at least encouraging to see where we did have marks that weren't as high as we would like, that we were on par with our peers. All of this information, if anyone's watching this evening, is available. It's posted on our website right now. On the opening page of our website, if you go to the bottom right, you'll see an assessment. You'll see shortcuts and then assessments, and all of this can be viewed by anyone who's interested.
Mr. Campbell, did the state do any validity or reliability assessments relative to the historic longitudinal grades on state assessments? Because when we talk about Start Strong, there's nobody familiar with that.
Correct.
And kids are burning through that without seemingly concern. And therefore, and I'm not disparaging children, please don't misunderstand my intent, but my intent is this. If, say, a Milburn and a High Point are demonstrating a relatively similar, then the validity of the assessment itself comes into question.
I had the exact same thought when I said if everyone's doing about the same, that really brings into question the validity. You want to see on any data table some consistency, but you want to see a lot of discrepancy. So it's interesting. We always find in state assessments that high performance is kind of indisputable. So if a student has 25 questions and they got 23 correct, that's an authentic demonstration of success. When there's 25 questions and the student gets 5 correct, we don't know. We can, though, look at time on task, and sometimes that helps.
I have some anecdotal, I'm sorry.
And we do have, we have a more agreeable, it's less stressful. The first few years we did park, people were opting out, whole communities were opting out, and now there's a comfort, maybe complacency, but we still struggle with the fact that we don't often know when a student scores poorly, to what extent that's a valid reflection of their ability.
Anecdotally, I spoke with 4 random students, 2 of whom took it very seriously, 2 of whom just did not.
That And I believe Mr.
Mr.
Gardner,
Was that the test that the state took very long to get the results out to the public, or?
yes, the results for us were available right away. But then we said, well, why can't we present these? You have to have time to have all of your data, and then the state's data, and then everybody gets to look at everybody else's data for 30 days when it's embargoed, and then you have a window to release it. So it kind of seems, in a way, silly that we took this test September 15th, we had the results September 15th, and it's January 24th. But we had them internally to look at for certain students.
Didn't have any comparatives.
Right.
It sounds to me like they knew that earlier, and we're looking for reasons to explain it before they release the data.
I reached out to the county office yesterday. They are non-committal with a likely to have a third and hopefully final year of Start Strong in the fall. So we persevere.
It is nice that they have it available right away, because you can look at maybe where the kids need to work on certain things, and you can maybe try to gear things towards that.
You can, and I also have to say, it's for each test, it's one assessment, takes about an hour. So for a student to go to their normal class and take a 25-question assessment in an hour and be done, it's not overly taxing.
No, it's not.
Is the information, like you say, it's available to you that quick? Is it available to the teachers as well?
Yes. Yeah, we share it within probably a week. We push out a spreadsheet to all the teachers with all their students and their students' results.
As individuals?
Yes. And then we upload it to Genesis so teachers can now, and we've just added that to make sure teachers can see the assessment results of their students. And that helps when we come to scheduling, because every now and then in scheduling, we'll notice that, wow, this student scored a 780 on the NJSLA, 800's top. Maybe this student should be in a more accelerated course. Doesn't always apply, but in some instances it can be helpful.
Your prediction was accurate. The 400th win is now.
Okay. Congratulations, Mr. Gardner. All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
I did get a communication from our Montague liaison, and she was going to be in attendance tonight. Mr. George, sorry for not getting back to you, but just wanted to let you know that we did get that communication. Again, if there's anything that the Montague Board wishes to bring to us through your liaison, feel free to do that, and vice versa. So I think that's the end of the presentations. There's no other business. We'll go right to action items. First group up, Mrs. Schumann, Curriculum Instruction and Technology.
Okay, so I move to accept these first 4 items. We have faculty attendance, student attendance, and the suspension report and harassment and intimidation bulletin report for November and December, and the HIB report is also through January. So we do a roll call.
Do we have to do a motion to accept those? Have we always done that? Oh, the HIB. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Voted on the HIB, not the first.
Sorry.
Okay, so I move to accept the first 3, faculty attendance, student attendance, and the suspension report for November and December. Take a roll call for that, please.
Do we need a motion?
Oh, we just need a motion?
Motion
Oh,
in a second. You can make the motion.
Okay,
Somebody else is
I'm
second.
making a motion, I'm seeking a second.
Second.
There you
It
go.
doesn't have to be a
Any
roll call,
dis-
it could be
We
all.
don't need a roll
You can do a
call.
voice vote.
Okay, so can we do? the
All
voice?
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
Okay. Now for the HIB report, we do need to have a roll call for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm making a motion for that, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Cotsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Crossett?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Palczak?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Schumann?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Dona?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Okay, so then I move to the action items 5 through 8. 5 is the curricular field trips and co-curricular field trips as attached. professional development, as listed on the attached roster. 7 is the school calendar, which is revised for 2022-2023, with an attachment. And number 8 is the program of studies for 2023-24. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion on those? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Caraza,
Yes.
Ms. Arlen,
Yes.
Ms. Palasek,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Ms. Schuman,
Yes.
Ms. Orsi,
Yes.
Ms. Tadona,
Yes.
Mr. Comforth,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes. Thank you, Shun. Very well done. Next, we have personnel.
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to move items 1 and 2. The first item is the recommendation to approve the following substitutes as listed. And number 2 is a recommendation to accept with regret the retirement notification of Melanie LaTrenta, effective June 30th, 2023. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just want to congratulate Ms. LaTrenta for her long distinguished career in our business department. She is a legacy, having been a student and the daughter of someone who you would certainly consider the father of High Point. She is the daughter of the longest serving superintendent in the district. And that legacy was important, and it's important to us to maintain those legacies. And that Mr. Arthur Smith, who was here for 23 years, I believe, as superintendent, and to have Ms. LaTrenta here carrying on that legacy of the family is very important. She's had a long career that has been very successful, and we would wish her nothing but the best, and congratulations on your career, and good luck in your retirement.
Anything else? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Arlen,
Yes.
Ms. Palasek,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Ms. Schuman,
Yes.
Ms. Orsi,
Yes.
Ms. Tadona,
Yes.
Mr. Comforth,
Yes.
Mr. Caraza,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to move items 3 through 11. Number 3 is the approval of the following 6th period assignments as listed for the second semester. Number 4 is the approval of individuals as MTSS instructors on a rotating basis as listed. Number 5 is recommendation to accept the resignation of the grounds custodian effective January 1st. Number 6 is the approval of the termination of employee 1104 effective January 17th. Number 7 is the approval of the NJFLA maternity child care leave absence of her employee 1280 from about April 19th to about November 8th. Number 8 is the approval of Mr. Kyle Stickle for the position of grounds custodian at the as listed. Number 9 is the approval of Ms. Michelle Verwilliger to be moved from her current status as part-time paraprofessional to full-time paraprofessional as listed. Number 10 is the approval of Ms. Julie Jordan Scott for the position of part-time paraprofessional as listed. Number 11 is the approval of Mr. Christopher Gibbons as guidance counselor for a leave replacement as listed. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Palasek,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Ms. Schuman,
Yes.
Ms. Orsi, Ms. Tadona,
Yes.
Mr. Comforth,
Yes.
Mr. Caraza,
Yes.
Ms. Arlen,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes. We have extracurricular up next, and I don't remember who, may I ask Mr. Caraza to handle extracurricular?
Sure.
And just hopefully have the same, stricken item number 1 that
Yes,
we all
I
have,
do.
okay.
So I would like to move items 2 through 5 together. Item 2 is the recommendation to accept the resignation of Roy Chiarello as head girls soccer coach effective immediately. Number 3 is the recommendation to approve Ross Schaefer as a student worker in the school store as listed. Number 4 is the recommendation to approve Nicholas Polizos and Todd Vanetta as co-coaches for unified basketball as listed. And number 5 is the recommendation to approve Gavin Hunsaker as a volunteer athletic trainer as listed. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion on items 2 through 5? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Donat?
Yes.
Mr. Comforth?
Yes.
Mr. Karazan?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Pausek?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. That's it for extracurricular. Okay, I guess back to you, Mr. Dunn, for policy items. Mr. Policy.
Yes, I'm going to move items 1 and 2 together. Number 1 is a recommendation to approve the abolishment of the following policies. Attachment D1.A, policy 1648.11, the road forward COVID-19 health and safety. Then attachment 1B, D1B is policy 1648.13, school employee vaccination requirements. And then item 2 is a recommendation to approve the first reading of the following new regulation, the regulation of 2425, emergency virtual or remote instruction program. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, what's the emergency virtual remote instruction? What does that?
Basically nothing.
Well, what it is in a post-COVID, generally a post-COVID, there were some accommodations where the state allowed remote instruction. And then so what subsequent to that, once all students are back in school, they wrote legislation that was signed by the governor that states that under a specific emergency as declared by the governor, that if a school is out under that emergency and closed for more than 3 days, they may continue on the 4th through X number of days under virtual instruction, and those days will be counted towards the 180 required by the state, not the first 3. So what that negates is snow days being used as virtual days. But should there be a pandemic, should there be an emergency of some state declared emergency, it allows for the possibility of counting those days towards the 180.
Thank you.
Anything else? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Donat?
Yes.
Mr. Comforth?
Yes.
Mr. Karazan?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Pausek?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Okay, now I'd like to move, what?
Sorry.
Sorry. Move item 3. It's recommended that we approve the following revised policies and regulations. Bylaw 0152 about board officers, bylaw 0161, call, adjournment, and cancellation. Bylaw 0162, notice of board meetings, policy 2423, bilingual and ESL education. Regulation 2423 is bilingual and ESL education as well. Policy 2425 is the emergency virtual and remote instruction program, and policy 5200 attendance, and regulation 5200 attendance. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion? I'd just like to note that, a lot of these are mandated, so it's nothing.
If you have any questions at all, I can speak about all of them if you have any questions. Some of which have very minimal changes just to update based upon policy or code verbiage changes, definition adjustments. Some are a little more complicated. As you see, the one is referencing 2425, emergency virtual and remote instruction. You see that, and think, well, didn't we just say that above? Above was the regulation, down below was the policy. And so because we didn't have a regulation before, that requires 2 readings for it to be official, and we just did the first. And below, we've already had the policy in place, and it's merely being revised. Therefore, it just needs 1 reading.
I have a question on the attendance
Yes.
regarding the chronic absenteeism. Did it say that if there's 10% of the students' population that's chronically absent for 10, like what was that double 10%? Then you had to.
Well, so there
plan
is
to
exceedingly convoluted.
Right.
And the problem is that the nature of attendance is a local determination. What we're talking about in this policy and regulation is the manner in which the federal government and the state government are attempting to map and account for chronic absenteeism. So they have a specific definition that covers chronic absenteeism. Therefore, their metrics is different than what a local district might determine to be a chronic absenteeist rate. So we may, as a local district, accept a doctor's note, and therefore it's excused, therefore technically the kid's not absent. Whereas the federal government says, no, that does not count, that must be categorized as a component of chronic absenteeism. So, according to the federal government and the state, they're trying to do metrics by which to do metadata to determine chronic absenteeism. And so we have to report, according to those metrics and definitions, to the federal government our chronic absenteeism so that they can make that meta determination, whereas locally we determine that which applies to graduation and a student achieving credit.
Right, so in the document, it said that if we fall below a certain, or above, if the chronic absenteeism is too much, it was like 10% of the 10%, it's a big grade like that. But if the chronic absenteeism does reach that limit, it said you had to implement some kind of plan to correct it. Do we have to create that plan now, or is that plan already in place?
No, once we're notified that if we fall into that category, we will create an action plan that we will submit to the accounting office that will comply with their box checking, if you will, so as to conform to their expectations, so as to be in compliance with state and federal metrics.
Okay, so we don't have to create that plan now?
Not right now.
Okay, great.
It is likely that many districts in the county and the state will likely be to some capacity creating an action plan in that regard, particularly with the absenteeism rate that we're seeing post-COVID. And as a matter of fact, and I don't say that with any judgment, as a matter of fact, I think to implement this from a federal and state perspective, I understand their goal, but to do so in the shadow of a pandemic, in my opinion, is going to skew the data so as to be unreliable. Particularly when we tell students today still, and have it up in signs, if your child is not feeling well, keep them home. And if we consistently recommend that for the good of public health, and parents are not going to take their kid to the doctor all the time, it's just not logistically possible. Therefore, we have to locally recognize that and determine, for the purposes of logistics and accountability and the human condition, not adhere to a more strict chronic absenteeism metric that is likely forthcoming. So the local determination will likely not meet with that of the federal.
Right, and I remember it now, it's 10% of the student population meets the definition for chronic absenteeism,
Which
is
according to our definitions, we don't.
Right.
We're good. According to their definitions, that's yet to be seen.
Thank you.
Okay, got your answer?
Yes.
That was a good question. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Horsey,
Yes.
Ms. Sedona,
Yes.
Mr. Comfort,
Yes.
Mr. Peraza,
Yes.
Ms. Ireland,
Yes.
Ms. Palisek,
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. That's it for policy, right? Okay, we have no negotiations items. Brings us to buildings and grounds.
I put a bullet point on the
Yeah.
buildings and grounds. We often don't have buildings and grounds items, so if you have something worth bringing up, I'll make a note of it. We applied for a grant, small grant that was offered around October because it was the time of our convention. The School and Small Business Valuation and Energy Efficiency Verification and Repair Program Grant for HVAC, and it's been approved, which was wonderful because we are in desperate need of updating a bunch of units on the roof that are 40 or 50 years old. So we plan on addressing those, and that's it. Oh, the grant pays 75%, and the district is responsible for 25%. Well, we also have ESSER funds, which are part of CARES Act and COVID funds, that we can use to pick up the 25%. So essentially, this project will cost the taxpayers nothing.
And what do you think that project's worth?
It could be 800,000 to $1 million total.
Okay. And I want to point out also that Jim did this at the convention, made the connection, filled the paperwork out, and that's why this is here.
You got to be in the right place at the right time.
Yes,
Thank
Oh, thank you for being there.
This was something that was on our long-range facilities plan anyway, to take care of, so this sometimes we'll take the fortuitous things that come around, because we certainly have our share of the other kind.
Wait, can I comment a little bit more?
Yes?
So, just to put it in perspective, some of the units that are on the building now have well outlived their lifetime, and they're probably 10 years or better beyond the life use of those units. So, we're at a critical point, and for this to happen now is awesome. And we're going to mention in other meetings too, that maybe there's people at, because people need to know that the money is brought in from the federal government and from the ESSER funds. So I think it's very important to talk about that.
We're also at the early stages of examining another grant opportunity that may enable us to consider HVAC units in classrooms that will enable us to incorporate possibly some air conditioning in some of the rooms, particularly upstairs. Now, rather than that being seen as a luxury that some may choose to see it as, those rooms become unmanageable in June and September to the point where we have to put large fans sometimes just to make it not even manageable, but at least, and we've had students ill. And so we're hopeful that we can at least begin a piecemeal process to bring in air conditioning into our classrooms upstairs by replacing each unit with each room, which, not just air conditioning, but heating, ventilation, and air conditioning.
Thanks for putting that in there, Mr. Winkwitz. I think that was well written and hopefully well received by the public. So we only have one action item under buildings and grounds. It's a recommendation that the board approve the health and safety evaluation statement of assurance for 2022-2023 as required for QSAC. So I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that item? No, roll call please.
Mr. Dillon?
Yes.
Mr. Comfort?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. Under finance, I would like to move items 1 through 9 as a block. Item 1 is a recommendation to accept the report of the board secretary business administrator for the months of November and December 2022. Item 2 is a recommendation to accept the report of the treasurer for the months of November and December 2022. Item 3 is a recommendation to approve the report of transfers and minimum expense transfer report for the month of November and December 2022. Item 4 is a recommendation to approve for payment the attached schedule of audited bill dated January 24, 2023. Item 5 is a recommendation to accept the adult education agency account, athletic account, cafeteria account, principal's petty cash account, scholarship account, school store account, and student activities reconciliations for the month of November and December 2022. Item 6 is a recommendation to accept school store account reconciliations for the months of July, August, September, and October 2022. Item 7 is a recommendation to approve the following agreement between Learn Well and High Point Regional High School to provide instructional and administrative support as listed. Item 8 is a recommendation to authorize execution of the following tuition contracts between High Point Setting District and the following districts as listed. And item 9 is a resolution to list surplus property to be sold through gov deals. I'm not going to read that resolution, but it's basically for the sale of one large bandsaw that is in disrepair. So I'll make the motion items 1 through 9. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on any of those items? Comments? Seeing none, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Comfort?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dona?
Yes.
Minister Dunn?
Yes. Item 10 is a recommendation that the Board of Education acknowledges and greatly accepts the attached updated list of donations received from sponsors of our cheerleading team, originally accepted at the October 27th meeting. I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
So I'll start the discussion on this. I happened to look at that attachment and just roughly tallied up the total, and we're somewhere north of $6,000, maybe almost $7,000 in total. There's about 2 pages of donations that were provided by individuals and businesses, and probably too lengthy to identify them all individually, but wanted to thank everyone that provided a donation for our cheerleading team. It is greatly appreciated. I'm sure it will be put to good use.
During the games, they would hold up the posters that they had made, thanking each donor.
And I think they just won a competition, so.
They did.
Maybe it's starting to
They've
show.
actually won a couple. They've been doing very well
Excellent.
in the winter. I think they've won 2 of the last 3 and came in second the other ones.
Wonderful. All right, so I make that motion. We already had second. No other discussion. I'll take a roll call vote.
Mr. Comfort?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dona?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. And I'll move item 11 separately too. We like to recognize our donors individually. It is recommended that the Board of Education acknowledges and greatly accepts a donation from Chad Powell in the amount of $500 for the Bradford Denavio Scholarship Fund. I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Again, thank you very much. It's a long time scholarship that I know has been awarded at our senior awards night. So, I have a roll call on that.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dona?
Yes.
Mr. Comfort?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. And the final item under finance, item 12, is a recommendation the board approves the agreement with youth advocate programs to provide mental health counseling as listed from January 16, 2023 to August 30th, 2023. I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
How does a student access the counseling? Is that by referral through the guidance counselor, or is
I believe it's by referral through the Tri-County with whom we work, but I'm not certain.
Two different services. They can be referred directly by a teacher, to the counseling office, and the guidance counselor could also make that, or child safety meeting can make that recommendation, or a parent could call, or a student could look for that resource on their own. So multiple avenues we can get into.
Thank you.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Dodona?
Yes.
Mr. Comfort?
Yes.
Mr. Karatza?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. Okay. Transportation. Mr. Ross?
I'd like to move items 1 through 10 as a block. Item 1 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the quoted contracts for curricular trips for this school year as listed. Item 2 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the quoted contract for athletic trips for the current school year as listed. Item 3 is recommendation to approve and authorize the quoted contracts for athletic and curricular trips for the current school year as listed. Item 4 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the quoted contract for a band trip for the current school year as listed. Item 5 is a recommendation to approve the joint transportation agreement for the current school year as listed. Item 6 is a recommendation to approve a joint transportation agreement for the trip as listed. Item 7 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the quoted contract for the current school year as listed. That was item 7. Item 8 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the contract addendum for additional mileage for the current school year as listed. Item 9 is a recommendation to approve and authorize a joint transportation agreement for the current school year as listed. And item 10 is a recommendation to approve the joint transportation agreement for the current school year as listed. I am making a motion seeking a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion regarding any of these items? Seeing none, roll call please.
Ms. Palasek?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Schuman?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Dodona?
Yes.
Mr. Comfort?
Yes.
Mr. Karatza?
Yes.
Ms. Ireland?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes. We have no long-term planning or legal action items, so that completes our action items. We also have no correspondence. Under miscellaneous, we have our standing item regarding school board mandated training. That does remind me also the financial disclosure forms. A gentle reminder to everyone that the financial disclosure forms have to be completed. As far as the mandated training, Steve Jim. And it will set you up. So our second public comment section of the evening, same rules apply as were mentioned in the first, but we are no longer limited to action to agenda items only. Please state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to be timed by the board president. I don't think we have anybody that's joined us in person, so turn to our virtual, and nothing there. An active meeting. Okay, may I have a motion to close the second public comments section?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. No well, I'll open it if there's any non-committee board member reports or comments that someone would like to make.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you. I'm glad that the Youth Advocate Program is providing counseling to the students that need it. I think that's great. Glad that service is available.
Yeah, we also have on-site with a third party, the Tri-County on-site, so we're doing everything we possibly can to provide the needs, not just of our kids, but to our staff as well.
Great point. Anyone else? Under other business, just the one item that we post there for public information regarding the open public records requests that have come into our board office and the amount of time that is spent on those. So with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you.